morning and welcome to the Gateway to the West. St. Louis, Missouri, just a bit to the west of us here at Gateway International Raceway. Qualifying about to take place for the Camping World Truck Series. It's the Copart 200 qualifying on speed from Madison, Illinois. A gorgeous morning, 71 degrees. No breeze that's present. Partly cloudy. They don't expect any moisture. I think we're in good shape for a good qualifying show as well as the race. A big day here on speed for NASCAR. NASCAR Performance picks it up after us at 12:30. Then NASCAR Smarts at 1. NASCAR in a Hurry at 1:30. Then Chris DeVota kicks it off right here with Camping World Truck Series setup, the Copart 200, and then finish off the day with NASCAR Race Day at 5 p.m. Let's go trackside to Adam Alexander.
And Rick, one thing we'll find in our race coverage later today is that track position is very important because it is hard to pass here at Gateway International Raceway. Getting on pit road, not a big issue. These pit stalls here at Gateway, very wide and deep. But then check out what happens on pit exit. Very narrow from the outside of the pit box over here to the outside pit wall. Qualifying very big because you always want to start up front, but it's also huge today because you want a good pit selection to make for a good exit to pit road. Ray Dunlap.
And Adam, when you start talking about this pit road, it is absolutely straight as an arrow all the way down. Some of the tracks we go to have a curve in it, and that may affect the crew chief's decision about where to pick. But qualifying will be very important today. If you get the pole, I guarantee you're going to pick pit stall number 1 at the very end of pit road. That is going to put you in position to be the first guy off pit road when you're done with the day. Qualifying is going to be very, very important today at Gateway International Raceway. Guys?
Well, thank you very much, Ray and Adam. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Johnny Benson with you from Gateway International Raceway. Now, those two have hit the point that qualifying is extremely important. 11 races have been run here, and 10 of those races, the winner has come from the top 10. So it's extremely important to start up front.
Rick, I'm going to take it one step further. 9 of the 11 races, the winner has come from the top 5. As those guys mentioned, it is a very difficult racetrack to pass on. And what happens if you start up front? You don't have to do any trick pit strategy to try to get back to the front. But sometimes you can have an exceptionally good truck, Johnny, like you did a couple years ago, and be able to have some problems and make your way back to the front. But it sure is a whole lot easier starting up front and staying there.
It is. I mean, you're right. You have to have a good truck to be able to come from the back. Starting up front is important. That pit selection is important. This place is hard to pass on. Very tough. But if your truck is great, you can do it, but you don't want to do it if you don't have to.
Well, obviously the draw is something that the drivers are always talking about, how they draw for qualifying. TJ Bell is going to be the first truck that will go on to the racetrack and take on the 1.25 miles here at Gateway International Raceway. Qualifying starts right after these messages. Speed presentation of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Gateway is brought to you by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com and check out our entire line of grills. TJ Bell strapped into the number 11, and he is about to take off for the first qualifying run here at Gateway.
Nice little run here the last 4 races for TJ. 3 top 10 finishes in the last 4. Wants to keep that streak going here.
Another thing about TJ, practice yesterday, he was 6th quick in both practices. We had 2 practices yesterday. The second one ran a little bit later in the evening, so maybe a little more indicative of the temperature that we're going to have for qualifying today.
Pretty cool this morning. What was 71, 72 degrees is what you said early on. A lot of grip in the racetrack this early in the morning, isn't it, Johnny?
It is. Normally you want to go late, but today is one of those scenarios where going out early is probably a pretty good thing. And TJ Bell is actually, the last couple of weeks, like you say, has qualified really good and has normally been going near the front. So, you know, he's getting used to that.
Takes the green flag. He's on the clock now. The time that I guess we could compare him to would be the fastest time in practice yesterday, which was set by Mike Skinner, 33.608. We'll see how TJ Bell does compared to that number. This is a different racetrack. This is one of those where you can be good in 1 and 2 and be bad in 3 and 4 because they're 2 opposite ends of the racetrack. I mean, they're different.
They are very different. There's only really 2 tracks like that we run on us, you know, Phoenix and here, where 1 and 2 is very sharp. 3 and 4 is a long sweeping corner. And the key for qualifying here is you use a lot of brake going into the corner. in 1 and 2, but not so much in 3 and 4. And you just got to make sure that you just don't, take too much speed off the truck using a brake.
Quite a bit off the pace that he ran yesterday. He ran 33.787 in practice. He runs 34.127. Surprising?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see what happens on lap number 2. But, as Johnny mentioned, it's normally better to be late. But I don't think, even though it's cooler, I don't ever want to be the first truck out because, they've blown the track off. And sometimes when the NASCAR officials blow the track off, they actually put a little debris down in the groove more so than it was there before. So we'll see. He does have a pretty nice pickup on lap number 2, 33.805, 133.116. So that's about what he ran in practice. So that's pretty good.
Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. The Ventrilo Tunda has got a new paint scheme this week, but it's the same truck you had last week, Todd, and you guys were not good at all at Iowa. What did you do to make it better?
Well, really didn't do anything. They took it apart. Of course, they checked it before they took it apart. Didn't find anything wrong with it. Put it back together with a new paint scheme for Ventrilo, new colors of blue, and it's been running good. It was good off the truck. There's about 5 of us, I think, that can run the same speeds, and so track position is going to be key.
And we wish him good luck. And guys, that new paint scheme on here, because Ventrilo located very close here to St. Louis, they're going to have a lot of fans in the stands tonight watching the 30.
Jason White now on the racetrack in his gunbroker.com.
Looked like
Dodge.
Jason got a little bit wide over there in 1 and 2. Again, this is the first lap, and we saw 0.3 of a second pickup on lap number 2 for TJ. So if Jason can just get that thing back down in the groove, he was pretty decent in practice. He was 17th quickest overall.
We've got 38 trucks that are here on the premises that will take time today. 39 actually, trying for 36 spots. First lap for Jason White, 34.669. He's going to have to pick it up quite a bit if he wants to challenge Bell for that top spot.
Yeah, that's about 0.6 of a second off his best lap of practice yesterday. I think this lap will be a lot better. Looked like he missed 1 and 2 on that lap number 1, as we talked about.
And I'm sure there's probably, like we just touched on earlier, still a little bit of dirt on the track. When they do blow it off, the groove's usually pretty clean, but the rest of the track's dirty. A lot of people cross the racetrack on the back stretch, so maybe going first, second, or third is probably not the best spot, but early is still better for today.
The other thing, I think common sense would say, well, what about apprehension? I mean, they haven't been on the racetrack all day, but I've got 2 drivers sitting next to me here, and I am so amazed every time when you guys will go out there and you will mat it the first time you're on the racetrack. And I think, well, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, we always say the first little bit and the first little bit of speed is easy. It's that last that you're trying to get to, the extra at the end. That's a little bit more difficult. So as you do go out on a track for the first time for qualifying, it is sometimes a little touchy, but you know what you had the day before, and you just go out and hope it hangs on.
And at this level, whether it's this series or the Nationwide Series or the Cup Series, these guys pretty much, from top to bottom, have a lot of experience. They know what they have. They know what they're going to have. So, I don't think if you gave Stacy Compton 10 more laps of practice, I don't think he's going to run any faster than he is on this lap right here or the second lap.
Right. We're watching Stacy Compton in qualifying. Let's hear from TJ Bell. He's with Adam Alexander.
And as the guys pointed out, never fun to be the first guy on track, but a nice pickup on lap 2. Your thoughts on the qualifying run, TJ?
I think that's a really good lap for our Toyota Tundra here. To go first, be during the day. Track felt a little bit greasier than last night, but I'm really excited about the race tonight more than anything. I just hope that sticks to top 10, top 15. As long as we're up there and we go racing today, I'm pretty excited about that.
This team has been on a roll lately, looking to continue the momentum here this afternoon.
Stacy Compton with some momentum right now, 33.979 for lap number 1. He's just a little over a tenth slower than TJ Bell. Let's see if he can pick up 2 to 3 tenths like we saw TJ Bell do.
Yeah, Stacy was very quick in practice. Final practice, he was 3rd quickest overall with a 33.65. Let's see what he can do on lap number 2. Actually slowed down a little bit, 34.053, 132.147. So lap number 1 is the one of record, and that will be second of the 3 trucks.
And a little surprising, Stacy Compton slows down on lap number 2. Coming up, Bodine, Starr, Peters, and James Busher. We'll see how they do here at the 1.25 Mile Gateway International Raceway. Full day on speed tonight. It's NASCAR race day as it roars into Richmond for the final race to make the chase. Tune in as teammates Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth join us live, and Brian Vickers sits down with Wendy Venerini for a must-see Real Deal. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot live tonight at 5 Eastern.
What a huge race tonight for our sport. The guys are battling to try to get in the chase. What is there, 8?
I think there's 8 guys that have an opportunity to either make it into the chase or be out of the chase. So, I mean, what a race within the race is going to be great.
How many sleepless nights do you think those guys collectively have had this week, Johnny?
Well, sleeping not. I mean, there's, you know, if you're at that point where you're way up there, you still have to make sure you go on the race. You can't just go, well, I'll just kind of guide my point, because if the other guys run really, really good, you could get bumped out, and that's not a good feeling.
Brian Eichler on the racetrack now, and I've just been updated. There's only 4 that are locked into the chase. There's 11 guys that have the possibility of making it in. So 11 guys shooting for 8 spots.
That means 3 guys aren't going to make it. And talk about, now, obviously, their season's not over. They have 10 more races, but everything is predicated on making that chase.
Wow. Hands full there for Brian Eichler as he came out of turn 4. He looked like he had his hands full both times in turn 4.
Yeah, sure did. Actually picked up a little bit on lap number 2, 34.389. Let's take a look back. Watch Brian here. This is the second one. This is coming down for the checker.
Hey, you see, he just got high. I don't know. At that part, it looked like he was almost a little tight, and then it just snapped loose there. And
had a lot of wheel into it, and then finally the front tires grabbed.
And the main thing is just not hit the wall there or spin out, and then just get it to the line, and hopefully it'll be fine for the race. That might be an okay setup for the race.
Another one of those racetracks where it's extremely flat, only 9 degrees in turns 3 and 4. Let's go back trackside. Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. They are rolling this Cajun Industries Toyota up to the front, about 4 trucks to go, and Terry Cook is starting to buckle in here. He's a former winner at this racetrack, and as we look at practice yesterday, 12th and 13th on the speed charts. Terry, what's the secret to a fast lap here at Gateway?
Well, it's the same ingredients you got to have at all these bigger tracks. It's a good aero balance, good horsepower under the hood, and a good mechanically handling truck. And I think we had 2 of the 3. We just were fighting getting into turn 3 all day long. Felt like we were really good in 1 and 2, just couldn't find the balance. And, you know, as you know, turn 1 and 2 so much difference than 3 and 4. We'd get a little better down there, and we'd hurt it down here. So did a lot of changes last night, this morning, and hopefully we found the right magic setup to get this Cajun Industries, Harris Trucking, Toyota Tundra up front.
All right, that is Terry Cook, and he'll be rolling onto the racetrack here in about 4 more trucks, guys.
How about Todd Bodine? He's been so good at this racetrack, and we would expect him to be in victory lane maybe for the 2nd time. But the only driver that has won twice at this racetrack isn't in the field. That's Ted Musgrave.
Todd has been in the top 10 every time he's ever run here. That was a good first lap, 33.917. If he can have a 2 or 3/10 pickup, he's going to have a shot at a real good start.
Potentially the pole. Let's see how he does as he crosses the start-finish line. Does he take Bell's position? No. 4/100ths of a second short of it. 33.841 for Todd Bodine, so he's currently 2nd.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a pickup, not what we thought we were going to see, but that is, you know, about 4/100ths of a second faster than what Todd had run in practice. I'm sorry, it's about exactly the same thing Todd ran in practice.
So the practice speeds may be indicative of what we can see in qualifying all morning. Todd Bodine coming off of the racetrack. This is the 24 of David Starr now on the racetrack, and he's had some troubles already.
Sure has. Watch it. This is the first practice yesterday. Goes down in turn number 1. Throttle hangs. Hard contact into the safer barrier. I talked to David right after, you know, probably 30 minutes after this happened, and he said he was a little bit sore, but otherwise pretty good shape. But I'm telling you, thank goodness for those safer barriers, Johnny.
The safer barriers are just something that's just really, really great, because that's a very unfortunate thing, and it's something that doesn't happen that often. But having a stuck throttle is something that just makes you really hopeless going into the corner. And with all the safety stuff we have with the push button and all that, it happens so fast that you really can't do a whole lot about it.
And people don't realize you're already in the corner as hard as you can get in the corner. And then if the split second it takes you to realize that the throttle is hung, even if you were quick to get to the kill switch or the interrupted like Roush makes, you're still in the corner over your head.
You're in over your head, and you are going to hit the wall probably. Just depends probably how bad you're going to. Either way, it's going to ruin your day. You're going to go to a backup vehicle.
4th quickest on his first lap for David Starr, 34.047. Oh, touches the wall coming out of turn number 2. A little bit
stays on it.
There for
David Starr.
Now, David Starr has been to victory lane at this racetrack. That was in Probably the longest ending race we've ever had in the Camping World Truck Series. We tried over and over and over to get that one done.
Well, we won't have any of those anymore because we only get one attempt at a green and white checker. We had 4 that night.
There's the checkered flag for Starr. He slows down, obviously, on lap number 2, but not much. 34.051.
Let's take a look here. He's coming off turn number 2.
Back end just kicks out on it.
Yeah, just a little bit of a kiss to the outside. Well, I don't even think that's anything that's going to require any attention whatsoever.
Now he's going to get more of that during the race.
So David Starr right now slotted in 4th. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
And if you look at the past winners list here at Gateway, you see mostly veterans on that list. Brian Eichler making his first attempt here at this track this weekend, and I guess learning the hard way, huh?
Yeah, you know, we've struggled since we unloaded. You know, this whole Billy Blue Motorsports team has worked so hard. You know, extremely tight yesterday in practice. Wholesale changes for us today for qualifying. Still a little tight in the center, pretty snappy and loose up off. So we'll do as best as what we can with what we've got, and hopefully we can have a good run here for Raceway Pharmaceuticals.
Brian Eichler back in the Truck Series driving the 15 this weekend.
Strutmasters.com of Timothy Peters now on the racetrack for his qualifying effort.
Stay tuned to the setup show later on this evening. We're going to have a nice little feature on Timothy Peters, and what a story he has been here over the last 12 months or so.
Oh yeah, impressive performances for Timothy Peters.
6 of the last 7 races he's been in the top 10, finishing. Lap number 1, 34.030, 132.236. He's got a shot at picking up a couple tenths, maybe jumping up to the top spot.
He does. I mean, he looked really, really good through 1 and 2 there. I mean, that's a tough part, to be able to run the bottom through that corner, especially during qualifying. And if he can get through there and have good speed going through 3 and 4, he should be able to pick up his time.
Timothy Peters' best finish at this racetrack, 16th back in 2005. Let's see how he does on lap number 2 for qualifying. He was 4th. Does he move up? Yes, he does. Up to 3rd. 33.898 for Timothy Peters on lap number 2. So currently in the top 3. Ron Hornaday, we know he's going to be good at whatever racetrack we go to. James Busher, Terry Cook, Hornaday, and Sauter coming up next.
Next week, Big Block Thursday amps it up with an electric all-new episode of
Pink's All Out. Then take a thrill ride with back-to-back episodes of Jacked. And hang on for a double dose of danger on Wrecked. Big Block Thursday beginning at 8 Eastern on Speed. Now let's go down trackside and check up with our point leader with Ray Dunlap.
Ron Hornaday has Longhorn back on his Chevrolet this weekend. And Ron, in the top 5 in both practices, is your truck as good as it was a year ago here at Gateway?
I really think it is. The guys really worked hard, and I'm looking forward to qualifying here. So we didn't do a very good run last night, but I think we're making some changes. I think we're going to be good with the Longhorn Chevrolet.
All right, good luck to Ron Hornaday. And, of course, qualifying so important for getting that first pit stall. Let's go to the other end of pit road and Adam Alexander.
Todd Bodine knows what it's like to win here at Gateway, and you qualified second at least at this stage. But a long debrief session with you and crew chief Mike Hillman Jr. Is there a reason for concern?
Well, I wouldn't call it a reason for concern. Right there in qualifying, as soon as I'd go back to throttle, the back of the truck wanted to pitch out, and it kept me from going real hard to throttle, which cost us the pole. You know, TJ put up a good number, and you know I couldn't go to the throttle hard enough to get it. But you know, I think we got a good truck for the race. We had an extra pound of air in the right rear to qualify. We don't know if that was it or not, so we're just going to leave it the way it was for practice, because I think we had a good truck. The Ventrilo Tundra was really good. Right at the end, the very end of practice, we got something that made it really good. And we only got 1 lap with it, and we had to go into qualifying trim. So we really don't have a lot of laps on this setup, but I think it's going to be okay.
And Busher just took the white flag as Todd Bodine sits second on the board.
I'm just curious if it's okay if I talk again.
Go right ahead. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you did such a good job on the promo and the throw down to Adam, and I'm just, you know, kind of enjoying the show.
Hey, we appreciate you enjoying the show, but go ahead and be a part of it.
James Busher on the racetrack for his qualifying run, currently 6th on the first lap. Let's see how he does on lap 2.
Pretty loose down there through 3 and 4. Looked like he was struggling a little bit.
Got a little bit wide, didn't he?
Little
Slowed
wide.
down.
Little wide.
Lost about 0.2 of a second on his second lap, so he'll stay in the 6th spot of the 9 that have been on the track. Norm Benning also was out on the racetrack earlier. He was 36.208. He is 9th of the 9 trucks that have been out there.
It's so difficult when you go out there and run. You know the second lap should be better, and you're trying to get all you can get on that second lap, and you slip like James did down there, and you say, man, I gave up a 10th or 2.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tracks that we go to that you go in there knowing that, okay, the first lap's going to be your best. Some of these tracks you're not sure of what's going to be best, and sometimes you adjust your air pressure to find out if you want your better lap to be first or second.
And your tape on the front of the vehicle as well. If you think the first lap is definitely going to be better, then you put more tape on the grill to try to be better aerodynamically.
Yeah, and there's times I go to a track that you're not sure. I always gear up to do it on the first one, because then if you do make a small mistake, you do have the option to run the second.
Terry Cook now on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. If he is consistent as far as running what he ran in practice, 33.943, that would slot him about 4th right now. Let's see if he can match what he did yesterday on the track.
Yeah, Terry's hoping for a little bit more. And he was talking about earlier that he had a great truck in 1 and 2. He said, I'm telling you, there's nobody any better. I was talking to him yesterday in 1 and 2. It looks like he pushed a little water out there on lap number 1, so it looks like he has a lot of tape on board. 34.242, not the lap Terry's looking for. Let's see if he can pick it up on this lap.
Well, you'll see that with they're pushing the water out. You know, they get these engines so cold that eventually with heat, it's got to go somewhere. It's maybe not because of overheating. It's just for the expansion aspect of it. It's got to push just that little bit out.
Don't really see any water coming out on the backstretch this lap.
Through 3 and 4, a little bit wider sweeping corner in 3 and 4 as he comes out onto the front stretch. We'll see if he improves on his 8th spot. He does. He moves all the way up to 5th, 33.981. So very close to what he actually ran yesterday in practice. And that moves him up again into the 5th spot. Let's go back down to Ray Dunlap. He's with Eric Almirola.
And he's buckling up the helmet here in Billy Ballew's number 51. Eric, how much did you guys work on race runs and how much for qualifying this weekend?
Well, we worked pretty hard on race trim most of the time. Last night, you know, at 6 o'clock at night was not really anything comparable to these conditions for qualifying. So we didn't put a whole lot of effort into our qualifying trim. We just mostly worked on race runs, and I thought we were pretty good. So we'll see what we got.
All right, they were top 10 in both practices here yesterday, guys.
I tell you, Ray, that guy has really come on strong. The last 6 races, his average finish is better than a 5th. And a great runner-up finish last time out for his best career finish in the Camping World Truck Series.
How about our pole sitter? How about our points leader, Ron Hornaday, now on the racetrack? He's always a threat for a pole. He was 5th in practice yesterday, 33.74. If he's able to duplicate that mark, that would put him at the top of the charts.
Ron started 15th last week at Iowa. Prior to that, he'd been 26 or 7 races in a row starting in the top 10.
First lap for Hornaday, and it's good enough to move Bell down 1. 33.662 on lap 1.
Yeah, and that's about a 1/10 and a half faster than what TJ ran, and that's actually a 1/10 faster than Ron ran in practice. If he can have another little pickup here, he'll have a good shot. You also always have to think about Mike Skinner. Mike was quickest in practice and obviously a great qualifier, but that's going to be a great starting spot anyway.
That's going to be a great starting spot, and it's going to be interesting if he'll pick up. He might be one of those trucks where the first lap's going to be better. Now he's probably going to make a liar out of me here in a second.
We'll find out.
But that's probably what he was shooting for, is to get it all on that first lap and just call it good.
And you were right on the money. He did slow down almost 0.3 of a second for Hornaday, but 33.662 is his lap of record, and that is what everyone will be shooting for now. And one of the guys who obviously we would expect to be shooting for that would be Mike Skinner. He goes out 23rd. 33.608 was his fastest lap in practice, so we'll see if he's got anything for Hornaday.
There's our rookie point leader, Johnny Sauter, in the Fun Sand Chevrolet. Yeah, that team has come on strong. 3 of the last 4 races, they've been top 6 finishers.
And Johnny Sauter teammates with Matt Crafton, currently 2nd in the points, 225 behind the driver that was just on the racetrack, Ron Hornaday, and right now is our provisional pole sitter.
Johnny was 2nd quickest overall in practice with a 33.61. Right now that 33.61 would jump him to the top if he could duplicate that.
See how he does on the first lap.
Definitely looked pretty good through 1 and 2. I mean, 3 and 4, sometimes you get sliding around. You see him working the wheel just a little bit there. And
looked pretty good, didn't he?
It looked good. It looked good. Should be a good lap.
See how he does on lap number 1. Second quick for Johnny Sauter, 33.773. So a little over a 10th behind Ron Hornaday. We'll see if he can pick it up, that 10th.
A little bit of a skate up off the corner.
Not quite as good as it was the first lap. And again, he might be one of these guys that put it all on the line the first lap.
How hard is it on brakes at this racetrack? I know that I just saw Johnny getting into the brakes as he was going into 3.
During a race, extremely tough on brakes going through 1 and 2. We're going to see a lot of red rotors during the race tonight. Not so much 3 and 4. Your truck's got to be off a lot to use a lot of brakes in 3 and 4, but everybody will use a good fair amount of brakes in 1 and 2.
Johnny Sauter picks it up just a bit in lap number 2, but not enough to upend Hornaday out of the top spot. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
And it would appear Red Horse Racing has brought their A game to St. Louis. Timothy Peters currently 5th. Your teammate a couple of spots ahead of you. TJ was satisfied. How about you?
Yeah, we were definitely satisfied that go around. Yesterday, our strutmasters.com Toyota Tundra really struggled in practice, and you know, everybody on the 17, and really got to thank the 11 guys for coming over and helping us out. And we got their setup in it, so great lap for TJ. Hopefully we can put our strutmasters.com in victory lane.
Timothy Peters knows what it's like to have a teammate now, and it certainly has helped this weekend.
Eric Almirola driving the 51. We've normally seen Brian Eichler get into that race truck, but as you had mentioned, Eric Almirola on such a roll. He's got so many good finishes, and Billy Ballou is really trying his best to win that owner's championship when he puts the different drivers in this truck, one of course being Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we see Kyle run this truck. He does fairly well in it on occasion.
He's had some success. First lap for Eric Almirola. Let's see how he does. 10th quick on lap number 1, 34.206. He's going to have to pick it up quite a bit.
And a lot of people get confused when they see drivers moving around like that. And the perfect case is that he'd like to see to 51 have as many points in the owners as what you can get, and you put your best driver in there at the time.
We're hearing that Billy Ballou will put Denny Hamlin in that 51 truck when we go to Martinsville.
Yeah, Denny's home track, and just loves to run Martinsville. He's done that before for Billy.
Currently the 51 is 203 owner points behind the 33. Kevin Harvick Incorporated. So Billy Ballou knows it's a stretch, but at the same time, he wants to give himself every opportunity to potentially win that owner's point championship. Caleb Alsop, there's Johnny Sauter out of his truck after his qualifying run. Hornaday's the man everyone's chasing here in qualifying.
Let your favorite driver take you to victory lane with the Wind Tunnel Super Sweep 7 fantasy game. To play, just pick 7 racers every week, score the most points, and win great prizes. For more details and to play the Wind Tunnel Super Sweep 7 fantasy game, go to Wind Tunnel page on speedtv.com today. Had a little more trouble with that one.
You know, I think that is a game that some of the people that work at Speed do kind of internally, where you try to pick the best 7 racers from across the board and see who wins. And I think Adam Alexander, of numerous people that are playing it, is in like the top 10 or something.
He brags about it every
now and then. But you can also do that as well. Again, it's the Super Sweep 7 fantasy game, if you didn't understand it earlier.
I only had 2 shots at saying it. I missed both of them.
Rick Crawford is on the racetrack for his qualifying effort, and it looks as though 7th quick is the best that he will be able to do. 33.981 on lap number 2.
Which is exactly the same lap that Terry Cook ran. Rick Crawford will get the advantage of that spot by virtue of the fact he's ahead of Terry Cook in points.
And let's go back trackside with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thanks, Rick. You know, we've got a great battle going on this season in the Ray Bestest Rookie Year Award, and Taylor Malsom having a good run at that too. But so many of these tracks you go to, Taylor, your first time there, and boy, St. Louis is certainly one to learn from, right?
Yeah, this place is definitely different. It's like turn 1 and 2 are super changed compared to 3 and 4, and I'm having a hard time getting them figured out, but Doug and these guys got an awesome job getting this truck here, and we should be pretty good in qualifying and have a good race truck tonight.
All right, they were 9th in second practice, so they got some confidence going with them. Let's check in at the other end of pit road with Adam.
And Johnny Sauter has been running really well lately. Back-to-back top 5s, and it appears the momentum is carried over here.
Yeah, we're actually having a really good time here the last month or so. So just proud of all the guys in a fun sand curb record Chevy. I mean, this is not the lap we exactly wanted, but nonetheless, it should be decent. And I feel like we've got a really good race truck. We found some stuff over here the last couple weeks and just keep working on it. So I don't know how Hornaday goes that fast, but hopefully Crafton can go out there and knock him off the pole.
Johnny Sauter currently on the outside of row 1.
Johnny Sauter's never run a truck at this racetrack, so it's interesting to see how he will handle Gateway International Raceway in a truck. Colin Brown on lap number 1, third quick, 33.768.
So what an amazing turnaround this team has had. I think since Dover, they were 20th in points after Dover. In the 10 races since then, they moved all the way up into the top 5.
And Colin gets that big win at Michigan.
That's
Actually,
a perfect
6 coming in.
Perfect place to win. You know, it's in Roush's backyard. Conway's right down the road, and it's a great place to win a race.
How about he takes the spot away from Hornaday? Colin Brown jumps to the top of the charts, 33.593. So a Ford now up on top of the charts, and then 2 Chevys chasing him. Hornaday and Sauter, Bell and Bodine rounding out our top 5.
This is the exact same truck that Colin ran last week at Iowa to finish 3rd, and they felt like they really have gained on their short track program. Even though this is a 1.25 mile racetrack, most of the teams and drivers treat it like a short track because of the flat corners, and they said they really felt like they gained on it, so they turned this truck around and brought it right here to St. Louis.
And this track is a short track. I mean, we do really look at it as a short track
that you go really fast on.
Well, you just got a lot of time between the corners. That's all.
That's the only difference.
That's the only difference.
Jason Young on the racetrack now in the 07.
Little wiggle. Had to chase that truck down in 1 and 2 that time.
Jason was 20th quick in practice yesterday. 34.434.
Jason's attempting to make his 3rd start here in the 07 SNS Greenlight Racing Chevrolet.
His best finishes so far, 24th at Memphis and a 20th at Nashville. So his first lap slots him 15th, 35.230. He's going to have to pick it up to equal what he ran in practice yesterday.
It's a pretty tough racetrack to come up. It's only your 3rd attempt of the season, and then come here to Gateway. It's qualifying here is very difficult to do.
Jason, another one of those drivers who has not started a Camping World Truck Series race at this racetrack.
There's such a variance of speed here when we talk about the corners and the long straightaways. Prior to NASCAR implementing some rules with the ratios and the transmissions, these guys would come here and actually shift.
Yeah.
A lot of times on each straightaway, like you would run a road course, but NASCAR said let's stop doing that. You know, there's just one other thing that we have to worry about having trouble with is transmission, and they created a rule that really doesn't allow you to do that anymore.
Right. Jason Young picks it up 0.6 of a second on his 2nd lap, but he stays in the 15th spot. So we will see how he does and where he ends up. And let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap. I believe you've got a guy who's challenging for the pole.
Well, he probably will, Rick. He always does. And 33.662 for Hornaday. You going to beat that, Mike?
I'm going to try. We ran an awfully good lap with this PC Miler Navigator Tundra last night. It's a lot hotter today. We're going to get what we can get. Our truck was awfully free, but it was really good in race trim. So we're just going to worry about the race trim.
All right. And guys, I certainly missed Colin Brown beating Hornaday there, so a different number that Skinner has to shoot for.
You might want to tell him that, because now he's looking for 33.662. He might just go 33.65 and think he gets it.
He'd be mad at Ray because Ray gave him some bad information there.
Well, Ray might be working with Colin Brown.
Happens all the time, Phil. Happens all the time.
That's not true. Ricky Carmichael on the racetrack now for his qualifying run. Here's another driver that has no experience in the Camping World Truck Series at this racetrack. He is 15th quick on lap number 1, 34.488.
I really like the program that Kevin Harvick has for Ricky Carmichael. Not running all the races, but he actually ran more races this year than they originally had planned. He really has had some great runs, but really a learning experience. I mean, the guy does everything you could possibly do on 2 wheels and trying to make it on 4.
He does, and you know, the thing that is kind of neat to see is on the bigger tracks, he runs better, and you think that the rookie would struggle in those areas. And then he gets to shorter tracks, and sometimes he's not as good as he'd like to be. But that's just experience. He just needs the 4-wheel experience.
He picks up on lap number 2, 34.242. That moves him to the 14th starting position. Let's go back trackside with the guy who is fastest at this racetrack, Colin Brown.
I was going to say, Rick, I just told Colin that he's fastest, and Ray said that Hornaday is. So Colin's not exactly happy with the guy at the other end of pit road. I'm just kidding. I'm putting words in your mouth. You are fastest. Will it hold up for the pole?
I don't think so. You know, Mike Skinner is really fast here, and but my guys did a great job. This number 6 Conway Freight Trail TL Ford F-150 team really has worked hard at Iowa. We brought the same truck from Iowa to this racetrack, so we had a lot less work to do on it this weekend, but they've still done a great job. And you know, we'll see. I hope it keeps in the top 5. I'm pretty sure it'll keep in the top 5, but I don't think it's going to be good enough for pole, but we'll see. My crew chief said it's going to be good enough for a 33.60. We ran a 33.59, so just a little bit better than what we thought.
Third the last 2 weeks for Colin Brown, looking for more of the same here today.
Brian Scott, let's see how he does his first lap. Brian again with a right wrist that is broken, so he's got a cast on his right wrist. They've adjusted the steering wheel a bit for Brian to make it a little more comfortable. But ever since that broken wrist, he's had a lot of success.
Yeah, they're going to re-break it when they take the cast off.
6 quick on first lap for Brian Scott, 33.887.
I talked to him a little bit about that because I broke behind in my wreck a couple weeks back or whatever, and I was like, dude, why you still got your cast on? He goes, between driving and shifting and all the other stuff he does, he says it's just taking a little longer than normal.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday, and a lot of times when you break a bone, it takes normally about 6 weeks to heal, and that's what you would normally have the cast on. He says, well, this one's going to take 12 weeks. It takes twice as long, and probably because of what he's doing. I mean, he's in a race car. He's in a race truck. Second lap, a little bit better, 33.783. That puts him 4th of the 18 that have been on the racetrack. So Colin Brown is the man everyone's chasing now. Matt Crafton still has a shot. We'll see how Crafton does in his qualifying run. Today on Speed, after dominating Iowa, Mike Skinner sets his sights on a championship, but Ron Hornaday and Matt Crafton still stand in the way. The 3 veterans will battle beneath the arch right here in St. Louis as the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series heads to Gateway. Don't miss live coverage beginning today at 2 Eastern.
A bunch of other kids also battling too.
Yeah, there's going to be 36 that are going to start, but we've got quite a few that are still fighting for that championship. Hornaday has to probably falter maybe once or twice if he's going to allow Matt Crafton and Mike Skinner to get back in there. Now on the racetrack for qualifying, it's Taylor Malsom in his 180-81 Toyota Tundra.
2005, Dennis Setzer led at this point by 143 points. Ended up losing by 55, so that's, you know, almost 200 points there, so it can be done.
It can be done. Taylor Malsom, 14th quick on lap number 2, 34.191. A little pickup, about 0.2 of a second pickup for Taylor Malsom on his second lap. So again, that moves him to the 14th spot. Let's go back down to AA.
And let's hear from Brian Scott, who is currently 4th on the board. Is it where you thought you'd be at this stage?
It's actually a lot better than I thought we'd be unloading yesterday. We had something going on, and it seemed like no matter what changes we made in practice, the truck was just numb. And 30 minutes left in final practice, we just threw a conventional setup on, did what we know works. Might not be the fastest, but we'll race good. And you know, yesterday with all of our struggles in practice, I think everybody on our Express Motorsports Albertsons Tundra would take sitting 4th and qualifying this late in. So we're real happy with it. We're real pleased with the progress we make, and I think we're going to race a lot better than we showed yesterday in practice.
Brian Scott solid in the qualifying run, and the man he may be chasing tonight is on track. Mike Skinner, very good in practice yesterday.
As good as anyone. He was the top performer yesterday in practice. Let's see if he can move that over to this day and get on top of the charts once again. Colin Brown, again, the mark that he's chasing, 33.593.
48 poles this guy has had in the Camping World Truck Series.
Another ho-hum pole for Mike Skinner potentially. He's got his work cut out for him, though. 8th quick on lap number 1, 33.956. He's going to have to pick it up more than anyone has today.
You know, we heard Skinner talk about having a good race truck, and he was going to concentrate on that. Well, we hear him say that a lot, and he goes out and sits on the pole. So I was wondering if he may have been woofing a little bit, but obviously he wasn't quite as quick as we thought he was going to be. He's about 3.5 tenths off on lap number 1 what he ran in practice yesterday.
Yeah, Mike is one of those guys that likes to get it done on the first lap. So it's be interesting to see just how much he picks up here, but he probably will, in the deal when the race starts, have a good race truck.
Slows down on lap number 2. 33.956 is the fastest he can go, and that's 8th quick. I would say that's surprising.
It is to me. I really thought at least he would back up what he had run in practice, but hey, you never know, because you know those guys were so good last week. What, you just killed them last week at Iowa. They know what they need. Mike runs well here. He knows what he needs in his truck to race well, and I'm sure that's what they. That's a challenging part of qualifying when you have basically an impound setup, because you're gonna set your truck up for the race, then you put some band-aids on to try to qualify as well as you can. I mean, right now Colin Brown is quick with a 33.593. If this was not an impound race, what would we see, Johnny? That top speed being 3, 4, 10, maybe even a half a second faster, probably.
I would say a half a second for sure. You know, you have to be able to race good, and everybody knows that, and everybody's working toward that. And like you say, you do a couple of band-aids, you do some air pressures, you move your track bar around. You're not allowed to do too much wedge, and then, of course, you have the tape and air pressure. And that's all you have to work with just to get through qualifying. And, of course, once the race starts, you can play with different things.
How close are they to the track record? Ted Musgrave holds that at 33.284, so about 0.3 of a second slower than the track record. And Matt Crafton now goes 12th quick in his qualifying effort, just under 34 seconds.
And remember, these trucks have about 75 less horsepower than they had a couple years ago when they came with a tapered spacer. That knocked about 75 horsepower out of these trucks. So we're only about 0.3 of a second off the track record with less horsepower.
Matt Crafton, teammate to Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter was 3rd quick in qualifying at a 33.714. Let's see if Crafton picks it up on lap 2.
Matt was 4th quickest yesterday in practice. He does pick it up, 33.830. That's still a couple tenths off what he ran in practice, but that will be 6th quickest so far.
So Matt Crafton just outside the top 5. It's Colin Brown, Ron Hornaday, and Johnny Sauter, your top 3. Welcome back. It's Gateway International Raceway, qualifying for the Camping World Truck Series. Dexter Bean, our first of the knockout qualifying taking place, so he has set the mark at 35.077.
See that little note on the quarter panel of that truck, Speedy Recovery JJ. JJ had run this truck some this year and had a bad accident a few weeks ago and actually broke some vertebrae, I believe, in his back. So we certainly want to echo that and wish him a speedy recovery.
It's JJ Yaley. Again, knockout qualifying. We call it go or go homers, I guess, are on the racetrack now. This time it is the 39, Ryan Sieg. On his first lap, we'll see how he does in comparison to Dexter Bean. He is quicker. He is 17th quick at 34.208 seconds. Again, we have 39 trucks. Only 36 will start. 3 will go home. Ryan continues on his second lap. Let's go back down to Ray Dunlap. He's with Mike Garvey.
And the teammate for that 39 is the 93 of Mike Garvey. Won races all around the country, but Mike, you've been crew chief in this deal for a while. What put you back behind the wheel?
Well, what happened is his brother Shane had to have an operation on his eyes, so he couldn't be here this weekend. So we're going to start it, see if we can't help, see what we got to do to make the trucks a little bit faster. Ryan and Shane have been doing a great job, and this is kind of fun. I can kind of see what's going on, see what we got to do to try to make them faster.
All right, glad to see a big smile on Mike Garvey's face. And guys, obviously he's competed in just about every level of racing out there available, known to man.
Ryan Sieg, 13th quick, so an impressive qualifying run, 33.999 for Ryan Sieg. Mike Skinner not on the pole. It's Colin Brown that's fastest here. Copart 200 qualifying continues. Chris Fontaine just coming off the racetrack. He was 22nd quick. He was 2nd quick of the go or go homers. Right now it's Ryan Sieg that has the best time, 33.999. Fontaine at 35.071, and Dexter Bean at 35.077. Double A.
Mike Skinner currently 9th, so how much of that is a combination of the truck not being where you wanted it versus going out late in the session?
Well, you know, obviously a late draw doesn't help you as the track heats up, but we missed it. We should have left it like we had it last night. I just want to praise Eric and all the guys for putting the effort in. And, you know, if you don't try, you can't get anywhere. But our PC Navigator PC Miler Navigator Tundra was really good in race practice, and it was good in the day. So, you know, I think we can get up there in the top 5 somewhere and ride around and see what happens at the end.
Same truck that dominated at Iowa a week ago, Ray.
And Adam, down on my end, Dylan Oliver has climbed into his number 02 truck, and he's one of the guys that, well, the only guy, I guess, that'll be running both races here today. Tell me about the difference between running late models and running in the Camping World trucks, Dylan.
There's quite a bit of difference, you know. We drive way in down here because the cars are about 1,000 pounds lighter, you know, so we got a lot more corner speed. The lap times are probably pretty close because these things got about twice the horsepower down the straightaway, you know. Entry of the corner is about the only thing that's different line-wise here.
All right, and guys, he's got new sponsorship on this truck this weekend. They're debuting a new product called Coma, and it is a relaxation drink. Might need to get some of that for Phil, Rick.
I was going to say, a few of us on the old broadcast team might need a relaxation drink. He's talking about an ASA late model race that will also be run here at the track today. So a big day for Dylan Oliver. And we're seeing coming off the racetrack Mikey Kyle in the 29. 34.398. That locks Ryan Sieg now into the show.
With 39 trucks here, you have to beat 3, and that's what we're into right now is knockout qualifying. And there's a guy we haven't seen in a while, and good to see him back here in the Camping World Truck Series, Todd Cleaver.
Now with Todd Cleaver taking over this seat, at least for this race, that means that Dennis Setzer is not here. And amazingly enough, Dennis Setzer had started all 11 races at this racetrack coming into this race, and obviously not here today, so that streak ends.
Also, Dennis did not run. This team did not attempt the race last week at Iowa. Dave Malcolmson, they're planning on being back next week at Loudon with Dennis in the behind the wheel. So good to see them back. But Todd ended up pretty good in the second practice. Ended up in the top 10, 8th quickest overall. Todd had a great year. He was our Rookie of the Year back in 2005 when he drove for Jack Roush.
Just short of the mark that he needs to lock himself in. Mikey Kyle has run a 34.398. That was a 34.503 for Todd Cleaver. He's going to have to pick it up if he wants to lock himself in his qualifying effort.
Todd ran a 33.93 yesterday, and again, he knows he's in knockout qualifying here, so he cannot take a huge chance. He knows he was fast enough that just an average lap is going to get him in. He may go for a little bit more this lap.
Well, and Todd's been around for a long time that he knows that he can put a little extra into this next lap and not really jeopardize the truck if you know, just sliding around. So
sure enough, he knocks himself in. He knocks one out. But he moves all the way up to the 18th spot with a 34.192. So Todd Cleaver solidifies a spot in the starting lineup for today's race. Mikey Kyle still on the bubble. 34.398 is the mark someone has to beat to get in. Welcome back. Copart 200 qualifying still continuing. We're in the knockout phase of qualifying. Mario Goslin has been able to lock himself in. His 21st quickest, ran a 34.563. Big day for NASCAR on speed. Again, following us, it's NASCAR Performance. The NASCAR Smarts at 1, NASCAR in a Hurry at 1:30. And Chris Devoda kicks us off back again here at the Gateway International Raceway with the setup at 2. And the Copart 200 green flag flying at 2:30. And then NASCAR race day at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, but hey, we got a chase coming up here. We want to tune in the race day and see what all those guys are thinking and how about the sleepless nights that they've had worrying about trying to get in that chase. Huge drama tonight in Richmond.
Yeah, Brian Vickers will be the real deal with Wendy Venerini, so make sure to tune in for race day at 5 o'clock. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
Matt Crafton, the man chasing Ron Hornaday in the point standings. 6th is where he qualified. Hornaday up there in the 2nd position. How frustrating has it been of late? Running good, but continuing to see him gaining points.
Yeah, last week was definitely aggravating in Iowa. I mean, we had such a good truck on the first run. We lost track position. Track position was everything at that place. I mean, it is everywhere, really. But I think we've got a really good race truck. I say it every week. I mean, it's just awesome to drive these trucks these guys bring to me to the track every week. This thing was off in the first practice yesterday. We were horrible in the first practice, and they changed everything on it. In the second practice, it was night and day difference. We were 3rd in the last one. I think we got a really good race truck and freed it up some more today, so I think we'll be all right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jack Smith was on the racetrack, and he is 27th quickest. And what that does is it locks Mikey Kyle now into the race at 34.398. Now the bubble is Chris Fontaine. We'll be right back. Mike Garvey will be racing this afternoon at the Gateway to the West, Gateway International Raceway. 24th quickest for Mike Garvey, but more importantly, he was able to outrun Chris Fontaine. His qualifying time 34.569 locks him into the show. Now the mark again, Chris Fontaine, and 35.009 is what everyone is shooting for. Dylan Oliver now on the racetrack.
Now is when the fingernail biting time comes in for these guys. Chris Fontaine on the bubble knows he only has to beat one more truck. He beat Dylan Oliver on lap number 1, but he's only about a 1/10.5 quicker than Dylan, so he's still not secure yet. Dylan needs to pick it up a little bit. Right now he is the slowest truck of the Go Homers.
Chillaxation drinks. I believe we've come up with some new words here in the past couple of years, and that one has to be one.
If he can pick up a couple tenths, he's going to probably be a little bit more relaxed. See what Dylan does on lap number 2.
Does he lock himself in? No. He locks Chris Fontaine in. So Dylan Oliver not able to outdo Chris Fontaine. Now it's Dexter Bean who is on the bubble at 35.077. And let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, we want to hear from Tommy Joe Martins. He'll be the last truck onto the racetrack, and just inside a handful of starts here in the series, Tommy, but how difficult is this racetrack here at Gateway?
Well, I mean, the trick here is just getting through 1 and 2. I mean, that's the hard braking zone. And really, you just kind of let the truck roll going into 3 and 4. And that's really what I struggled with mostly, because I think you get into a rhythm over here, getting hard on the brakes. And you want to do it over there, but you can just carry so much more speed. So it's kind of taking an adjustment. But I think we got a pretty good shot.
Let's go down to the other end of pit road and hear from Adam Alexander.
And the anxiety is over for Mario Goslin. A solid qualifying run puts you in the field. How good is the truck?
The truck's really good. We opted to qualify on scuffs, and that probably hurt us a little bit. But truck's really good, and at the end of the day, we're just working hard trying to get our inventory ready for when my tire monkey comes on board. We want to have 3 or 4 trucks ready to go so we can really go after it.
This team has been committed all year long. Good to see Mario in the field again today.
And again, big announcement out of Mario Goslin coming at Talladega. MyTireMonkey.com coming on board and will allow Mario Goslin to race all year next year. Brent Raymer now on the racetrack, 32nd quick on his first lap. He's got to pick it up quite a bit to be able to upset Dexter Bean.
There are really only 4 other trucks left after Brent, so he is the slowest of the Go Homers right now, so he really needs to pick it up, probably close to a half a second.
That's pretty
to get in the show.
Yeah, that's pretty tough for these teams too, because some of these ones that go homers don't have a lot of track time experience, and this place is just really, really tough to be able to do.
He picks it up on lap number 2 and locks himself into the show. So Brent Raymer will race this afternoon, 34.663, almost a second pickup for Raymer on lap number 2. Qualifying continues here on Speed. John Jackson was 27th quick in his qualifying effort as he leaves the racetrack, and what that does for him is make sure he's going to race this afternoon.
Did he knock himself in?
It's knock-in qualifying here in Gateway.
We're getting ready to start knocking some people out, though, with only 3 trucks remaining. Ben Stansel right now on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Jack Smith to make this race. He is the slowest right now of the Go Homers. Ben Stansel on the racetrack, 20-year-old out of Eden, North Carolina.
He's actually a teammate to Jack Smith, both of those running the Mittler Brothers trucks here. Dexter Bean, 35.077 is the mark to beat for Ben Stansel. Remember, 3 trucks remaining.
Pretty loose down through 3 and 4 there. That's not going to help his speed out at all. So we'll see where that's going to land him, see if he needs to pick up, and he's going to have to pick up a lot.
He definitely has to pick it up on lap number 2. We'll see if Ben Stansel can race his way into today's starting field.
I'm telling you, it's only a 1/10 of a second, Johnny.
It is. It's so close.
Really tight in there.
It is at the front. It is at the back when it comes to either sitting on a pole or trying to make this race.
Loading the truck up, potentially. We'll see if Ben Stansel is going to be racing later this afternoon as he comes out of turn number 4. Does he pick it up enough? He does not. Slows down. So Ben Stansel is not going to race this evening. He is 32nd, and he is the slowest of the go or go home. That means Dexter Bean has locked himself into this race. So I guess Dexter Bean's been knocked in to the starting field.
Knock in qualifying.
That's right. Colin Brown still on top of the chart. Speed presentation of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Gateway is brought to you by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing to enter to win weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Coleman grills.
Yeah, just log in and do the sweepstakes. You get gifts for just logging in.
Yeah, there's a chance to win a Class A motorhome at the end of the season.
Wow.
Yes,
It's a good
very
deal
big.
there.
Lance Hooper just had a Class A qualifying run here.
He knocked himself into the racing field, 28th quick, 34.928 for Lance Hooper. Now there's only one truck remaining, and we'll see who will race this evening. Will it be Oliver or will it be Tommy Joe?
We know that Jack Smith now has joined Ben Stansel as the trucks that will not be able to race this afternoon, and it's all come down to this for Tommy Joe Martins. Tommy's from the Nashville area, runs the Fairgrounds Speedway.
So Tommy Joe Martins has his fate in his own hands. Can he outrun Dylan Oliver? 35.127 is the mark he's shooting for.
Right down on the bottom, down in 3 and 4.
Looks good coming out of 4 as he crosses the stripe. Does he get in on lap 1? He does. A big run for Tommy Joe Martins, 24th quick, 34.491. So that will send Dylan Oliver home. And our 36 trucks have been set as Tommy Joe Martins is going to run another lap.
He's breathing right now.
Breathing and setting decent.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he could have probably just pulled in the pits and called it good, but we'll see if he can pick up on his second lap. And with him being the first time here, another lap won't hurt.
Yeah, a big pickup from practice yesterday, too. Almost 0.3 of a second faster than what he ran in practice. And lap number 2, a little bit quicker, actually, 34.443. So a couple good laps for Tommy Joe Martins. He will race later on today. And what that means is Colin Brown has grabbed his 3rd pole of the 2009 season. 3rd career pole as well in just his 44th start. Speaking of 44, Tommy Joe's coming off of the racetrack. Our front row, Colin Brown and Ron Hornaday Jr. Well, I'm guessing the field behind Ron Hornaday Jr. is not going to be too happy about that, as Hornaday has the 225-point lead coming into this race. It's his 6th front row start this season.
Remember how important it is to qualify here. Only one time has the winner come from outside the top 10, twice from outside the top 5.
Those are the drivers that missed the field. Now let's go trackside to Adam Alexander.
And how about we hear from Lance Hooper, who has worked his way into the field. It will be Colin Brown on the pole. And I'll tell you what, it's never easy when the pressure is on going down the stretch of qualifying, but you got it done. How did it feel?
It felt real good. Used too much brake, slowed it down too much, but because I never got to do a sticker run, didn't know what to expect. But Ron Crosby and Joey Sontag done a great job filling these trucks. Thank everybody out in Chester, West Virginia, Rock Springs, and we got 160 laps later on today. Hopefully get up front, do some good pit stops, good pit strategy, be there at the end.
You're not with us every week. How much added pressure when you haven't been behind the wheel week to week?
Every lap, I got to do 15 laps in practice, and every lap I was learning something. So seat time, it's hard to beat seat time, but I'll get it figured out.
Good to see you, Lance.
Thank you.
Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, we got Colin Brown down here in the garage area, and they are taking some photos as he is holding up the cores. 21 means 21, getting his 3rd career pole. And let me slide in here real quick and talk to Colin. Colin, 3rd pole of the season, and it's unbelievable just how much progress this team has made. and running back up through the points here over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it really is. These guys have done a great job, not only at the racetrack, but bringing fast trucks. The guys in the shop do a great job on this number 6 Conway freight truck, and it's just a pleasure to drive. You know, you get to the racetrack and you've got the confidence the truck's going to be really driving well. My guys did a great job at Iowa. This is the same truck we had from Iowa. Worked on it really hard there, so I think it's kind of paying off at this race as well, so it's definitely good.
Colin, in 3 of the last 4 races, you guys have finished 3rd. What's it going to take to make that just a couple of spots better?
Well, you know, just keep working on things. I think we got a little better truck here than we had in Iowa. You know, Skinner was really fast last week at Iowa, obviously, and I don't know if we have, you know, speed like that this week, but, you know, I don't think he's quite that good here, so hopefully it works out for us.
And, guys, if he does get a pole after we go to Las Vegas, they can change the banner back here because he will pretty soon turn 21.
Colin Brown, only 20 years old, out of Ovalo, Texas. And, again, it's his 3rd career pole. And it's been this year, Daytona, he grabbed the pole to start off the season. And then ORP, the short track, he was able to get a pole. And now the 1.25 miles at Gateway International Raceway. It's going to be Colin Brown that will lead the field to the green flag. He's got a pretty good guy that knows how to start races on his outside, Ron Hornaday. We'll be right back. Good qualifying effort here from Gateway. NASCAR programming continues on speed today. Next up, it's NASCAR Performance, then Smarts at 1. NASCAR in a hurry at 1:30, then the setup with Chris Devoda here at 2 o'clock. The green flag will fly just after 2:30 for the Copart 200, and NASCAR Race Day will kick off what promises to be one of the most exciting races of the year for the Cup Series.
Remember, 11 drivers vying for 8 available positions in the chase. 4 already locked in. 8 positions, 11 drivers, and we'll probably talk to all of them during race day.
Oh, yeah. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
So many great stories in the Camping World Truck Series, Rick, but one team that has shined in recent weeks is this 13 bunch driven by Johnny Sauter. They are on a run of back-to-back top 5s, and this streak of momentum began at Chicagoland when Joe Shear took over as crew chief. That weekend, he not only crew chief Johnny Sauter to a top 5, he also had Brian Eichler in the ARCA REMAX Series, who also had a top 5 finish. They followed it up with another solid run last week at Iowa, and driver 13 has a very good starting spot here today.
We expect big things out of Johnny Sauter. Take a look at your front row. Colin Brown and Ron Hornaday. Again, Hornaday has a big lead over Matt Crafton, 225 points, and then Mike Skinner in 3rd, but that could be chipped away today if they're able to get past him. Continue on with our starting grid.
Great runs for Johnny Sauter. As we mentioned, Brian Scott with a top 4 run. TJ Bell with a top 5 run. Good for him. And Timothy Peters back in row number 4.
Mike Skinner starts on the inside of row number 5. And again, Matt Crafton up there in row 3. Those are the top 3 in our point standings.
You know, Ron Hornaday started a new streak last week. This is 2 races in a row. He started in the top 10.
A new streak after going a long time being in the top 10 for starting. And then it was broke with Iowa last week.
That's right. This is the first race. I'm sorry, not 2 in a row. That's right. New streak.
Todd Cleaver in that 8 will start on the outside of row number 9. Ricky Carmichael on the outside of 10. Brian Eichler, surprisingly, back there a ways in row 11.
Good run by Tommy Joe Martins. Outside row number 12. Last truck on the racetrack. Knocks himself in to this field.
And he knocked a few guys out. So they won't be making the start. But Dexter Bean, Wayne Edwards, they will start. Again, Wayne Edwards didn't make the 5-minute clock, but because of points, he was able to be locked in or knocked in to qualifying today. So those 36 trucks will start today's race. What can we expect? It's not a short track, but at the same time, only 9 degrees in turn 3 and 4 as far as banking, and 11 degrees in 1 and 2.
You're still going to race this like a short track. You know, 1 and 2, you have the option to run the top or bottom. The key is to try to get off turn 2 with a lot of momentum going down a backstretch. Not a lot of side-by-side racing in 3 and 4. Turns 1 and 2 is probably the keys.
And now is the time Matt Crafton's going to have to make a statement. He's going to have to gain some ground on Hornaday. He's running out of time. Honestly, we've never had a bigger point lead with this amount of races left to go. So he needs to cut a dent into Ron Hornaday's lead if he thinks he's going to challenge.
And he's also got to keep his eye in the rearview mirror because now Mike Skinner's on a little bit of a roll after a dominating performance at Iowa. Maybe not the performance he wanted to see in qualifying as he qualified 9th for this race, but at the same time, still in striking distance if Hornaday falters.
It is, you know. I mean, I think Matt Crafton right now needs to just focus on the points. Not worry about the guys behind him if he's going to make any ground.
Before we slip away, let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, I love coming to Gateway Raceway. The weather couldn't be better for our event this afternoon here. But if you're ever in the St. Louis area, you've got to make a trip over to the St. Louis Arch. It's the gateway to the West. It's an incredible structure. And coming up on the setup and throughout the course of the race this afternoon, I'm going to give you a few Gateway fun facts and tell you a little bit about the Arch and how it got to be one of the tallest monuments in the United States.
A little teaser. Ray's going to be giving us fun facts today.
I've been up in the Arch, all the way to the top.
I'm glad you made it to the top. It wouldn't be any fun if you only made it halfway up.
Go halfway, then come back down. You can come back down.
Keep it right here on Speed all day long for your NASCAR fix. We'll be back later for the Camping World Truck Series race from Gateway.